We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now our World Broadcasting Tag Team Champions of the World and a Cruiserweight Champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
And this is Ropes, episode 111. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk, where we talk about all things professional wrestling and sports entertainment. We talk about predictions, reviews, reactions, matches, various things. We are on social media. Find us on Twitter at RealBTRRadio. That is RealBTRRadio. BTR Radio has 2 R's in it. You can follow me on Twitter at EthanEnvy95 and on Instagram at EthanEnvy. You can follow Rob on Twitter and Instagram. Where can they find you, Rob?
Rob Flores Media.
All right, Rob Flores Media. And James is currently handling some business. He'll be back. He just turned off his screen.
He wants to join the Green Screen Club or what?
I don't know what's going on. We've always got some technical issues right here. But I am currently emanating live from the Firefly Funhouse. I got the scoop, ladies and gentlemen. I know this Sunday is going to be a big match, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm going to be talking to Abby the Witch and maybe Mercy the Buzzard a little bit later on in the show. So
what do they call the pig one?
Huskus. Huskus the pig boy. And as well, Rambling Rabbit up here. Here he is. And James, where can we follow you at?
Where can we follow me at? We can follow me on Instagram and at Twitter with one name, believe it or not, at JHW Reporter. You know what? I always have to give you a hard time, Ethan.
You're so original, James. You're so original.
Someone has to do it, right? Here I am.
Facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes, where we post videos up there and predictions. And YouTube, just search up Beyond the Ropes. Currently, there are over 100 episodes uploaded there across 7 seasons. And I know Rob's going to get some more up there very soon. So it should be a good weekend. We got Money in the Bank coming up this Sunday. Mother's Day. It's going to be a Mother's Day special edition episode. Yeah, Rob, what's going on?
Mama Benjamin. That'd be great. Mama Benjamin showed up.
I forgot about that.
The whole story, Mama Benjamin storyline. That was great. What was that, 15 years ago already?
It might have been. It's been a while. Then, that might have been a while.
Let's talk about SmackDown tonight, happening 5 o'clock Pacific time. We've got Braun Strowman, the Universal Champion, will go face-to-face with Bray Wyatt. Obviously, Bray isn't here. He's getting ready for SmackDown. Otherwise, he'd be in the Funhouse with me. But he's going to get ready to go face-to-face with Braun. Any predictions on what may happen, what may go on tonight?
One prediction would be if you were in the Funhouse with Bray, it wouldn't end up very well for you. I know that for sure.
Well,
as far as tonight, I mean, what was that?
Bray can be very friendly. It's the Fiend that maybe isn't so friendly.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, you believe what you want, but that has to be now you're willing to take, sir. For tonight, I mean, I guess they're going away maybe from the usual contract signing, I believe. I mean, they've kind of been doing that quite a bit, actually. So we'll see what happens. I mean, someone's going to have to end Monday night looking pretty strong at the end of the night. We'll see how that turns out, and usually that can hint one way or another where the match may be going. I forgot what the trend usually is. Whoever stands tall at the go-home show is usually the one who loses. I think it's the other way around. We'll get an idea of how things go from this. I'm not really sure what to expect. We'll have more predictions later on the Money in the Bank card itself, but we'll see. Especially with Bray Wyatt, who knows what will happen? They might even go to the Funhouse later. Who knows?
Maybe anything can happen. especially when you have the quarantine. We got to mention it's a quarantine era here on Beyond the Ropes, so we'll see what goes on. Mandy Rose will
Might be getting close to the end, though.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll talk about that in a bit. But Mandy Rose will face Sonya Deville one-on-one. Finally, they collide after a couple weeks of back and forth. They will collide tonight. Any predictions on who will win? Will this maybe end up in a no contest? Sonya Deville's really been killing it on the promo game. And so she's been doing a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that, about Sonya doing well, and especially it's kind of nice to see, again, maybe someone else kind of breaking out and standing out from the storyline, especially considering it was so Mandy and what is it? And Otis, them being the real standouts of that. And so for Sonya to kind of have her own little time to shine, it's kind of nice, and hopefully build a character, and then it would be up to WWE to continue that. They don't have no match. They don't have a match scheduled for Money in the Bank. I mean, I guess I want to say Mandy, but if this is not I'll go with Sonya. Why not?
Yeah, I'd probably say Sonya might get the best of it if this isn't the end. However,
right.
Again, I feel like Mandy will probably take it. Or this could end in a no contest, for all we know.
It could. I think I would definitely think it would end in a no contest if they had something going on at Money in the Bank. But if not, then I don't know. I'm just not sure if this is the end of the storyline or not. But
so we'll find out tonight how it goes. Jeff Hardy returns to in-ring competition. Well, last month, the WWE has been promoting his rise, his fall, and his redemption story over some pretty epic video packages. This week, he officially returns, and there's been a little bit of a tease of a feud between him and Sheamus. Sheamus has not taken very fondly of Michael Cole talking about Jeff Hardy while he's out there having squash matches. So Sheamus did say that he would be here tonight if Jeff Hardy is here. So potential feud building up there.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, I guess that's just kind of an interesting mix. I mean, is I don't know what chemistry they really have together. I'm trying to think of any other past storyline they might have been in, but yeah, I mean, two veteran guys. I mean, you can't go wrong with those guys. I'm sure they'll treat each other safely as they try to build their way back into the superstar status they once had. Not saying that they're not still superstars, but to try and regain that momentum they had early on in their careers.
Right. Then we also have a tag team match between Tamina and Lacey Evans taking on Sasha Banks and the SmackDown Women's Champion, Bayley. Obviously, this Sunday, Tamina will challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Lacey Evans will be in the Money in the Bank ladder match as well. So some big matches for them this weekend. Should be a pretty good build-up show for Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. It seems like they are kind of building up Tamina a little bit. I know maybe we can get a little bit into I'm blanking on the name. Why am I blanking on the name? Rock's cousin.
Nia.
I don't know why I was thinking. We could talk about her too a little bit later because, if you kind of look at what we talked about so far, they're actually, it seems to be doing a little bit of a good job kind of building up the women's division again a little bit. Maybe that's just me, but.
Yeah, no, they have. I think they've been mixing it up, especially with Money in the Bank. You've got to get a number of people involved, especially with the NXT women's division. You got it mixed up. We'll talk about NXT right now. Charlotte Flair did defend the NXT Women's Championship for the first time this past Wednesday on NXT against challenger Io Shirai. Solid first encounter between the two. However, it did end up in a no contest, or I guess a disqualification on Charlotte's behalf. She used the kendo stick after some frustrations. And then we saw Rhea Ripley return to make the save. And so, potential triple threat. I know you and I were texting earlier this week about this.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm thinking it's a potential triple threat. Hopefully, personally, for me, I'm hoping Io Shirai gets that NXT title very soon. I think it's
You think so, huh?
for her. And it is her birthday today, actually. So happy birthday to Io Shirai. But yeah, what are your thoughts on all that, James?
I think, is she a good candidate to win the title at some point? Definitely. In this storyline, I don't think so. I think, again, like I told you when we were texting, I think Rhea is still going to be owed a victory. And you kind of mentioned the triple threat, and I'm not against that. I guess now thinking about it, maybe it would be it wouldn't hurt to have that be a triple threat. Again, I don't see Shirai winning that. But I think by the time it comes to SummerSlam, you need to have Rhea and you need to have Flair in the ring one-on-one, and you need Rhea to get that victory back and retain and win the title back to continue what she has going on there. Obviously, this is part of having Charlotte there is to help maybe boost the ratings a little bit on NXT as they continue the battle with AEW. But I'm been kind of curious maybe why they've kind of kept them off so long, to be honest, because this is the first defense back for Charlotte, and then this, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it is first defense for Charlotte with the title. And then first time I think we've even seen Rhea since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting where they go with it. It was kind of a bit of a twist because they even had that backstage segment with Shirai and Rhea, which could be a match for next week. I think that didn't they already announce that? I think they might have even announced it during the show because I know NXT announced a few different matches right like during the show. That might have been one of them. So look out for that match. I think that's going to be a match that we see, and that could be a good one as well. It might be a good reason for Charlotte to make a run in as well, and we can see that storyline kind of build and see where it ends up going.
For sure. And another interesting note on NXT, the debut of Karrion Kross and Scarlett, much anticipated for months now. We found out that the formerly known Killer Kross was coming to WWE. His girlfriend Scarlett was signed last year, and so obviously they held off on bringing her in until he came in. And it's been build up after build up, and well done. It got a lot of hype, the entrance that they had. Different.
I heard about the entrance. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was good.
It's up. It's on social media. Check that out.
Okay.
And it was like 3 Saito suplexes he used that looked absolutely nasty, and then he put his opponent in a submission. It was like a cross jacket type of thing where he uses legs to like block the arms and all that. So like there was much no escape for his opponent. But yeah, very dominant first match in NXT. Clearly someone that gonna make big waves on the brand.
And much like any other new guy who kind of comes in from the independent scene, of course WWE is going to change the name, and of course he wasn't going to get very far using the name Killer or having the word Killer in his name. Some people were using their Twitter fingers and were a little angry about it. But I mean, these people can't be surprised at this point that that's going to happen. The name seems fairly close to what it was on the independent scene, so it works out. I don't know what people were expecting, but some people were still upset that the name Killer wasn't part of the name.
Yeah, Carrion, I think, has like a meaning, like a pretty dark meaning as well. So
yeah, I think I heard.
He chose a very specific name, so it works out. And he already has a T-shirt, of course, on shop. So there you go. any Karrion
Of
Kross.
course.
So you gotta sell that merch. Speaking of merch,
Oh yeah.
we gotta get our own. We gotta get our own very up soon. I know I've been teasing it for weeks, but just go to Twitter and we'll be sharing some information about that very soon. Something else that happened on NXT: Finn Balor was attacked a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't find out who it was, but he did say that he was going to be hunting for a snake that was in the grass. And I'm really loving this heel Balor. I think he's killing it, especially in the promos. Far more dangerous, far more aggressive in what he does. And next week he will be having a match against Cameron Grimes, who we confronted on NXT this past week after Cameron was throwing a few words out, saying he would slap Balor if he had the chance. And he made that mistake because it didn't end well for him. So looking forward to that match next week.
Yeah, I thought that was a good little bit they had there, and where they had Balor on the podium doing his promo, kind of coming forward since being attacked. But then, the segment kind of ended, and I was like, oh, okay, what's up with this? I don't know where they're going. And then when, Grimes has his match, and then they have, I thought it was, at first, he starts talking about Balor, and I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of interesting. And then to see Balor come from behind him, coming down the ramp or whatever, I thought that was a pretty neat little, you don't see that a whole lot. And of course, when you kind of have a shorter stage like that, you can kind of do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool little touch. I'm starting to notice, I'm not familiar where Grimes has come from prior to WWE, but he's starting to get used quite a bit. Who knows if there's some potential they see in him long term, but I know he was, he kind of confronted, I think, Keith Lee, and he had a title, Keith Lee had I don't know if there was a title match, but they put Grimes on against some big name opponents right off the bat. Now with Balor, first with Keith Lee, who knows? We might be seeing this guy winning some titles himself in the near future.
Yeah, Grimes and Karrion Kross and Scarlett all came from Impact. They all had
Oh, okay.
When we return, we're going to talk about a man that absolutely shocked the system this week on NXT.
Who, me?
No, not you, sir. All right, we'll be right back right here on the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. And we're back. I am your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James, and our producer, Rob, who is also our timekeeper here as he's phasing in and out of his Zoom background. He is not in the 22S Radio studio right now because he is practicing social distancing, as I hope everyone is. I know things are starting to go back to normal. Not necessarily, not that we ever will go back to normal, but we're going through a process of trying to get back to a sense of normalcy. I know here in California, things are opening up today, so just make sure if you are out here, stay safe, keep wearing your mask, wash your hands, practice social distancing. So there's our little
your PSA
our little PSA
for the episode.
Adam Cole, the man, the myth, the legend, defended his NXT championship against James's favorite wrestler, Velveteen Dream. And he absolutely owned the match. He retained the NXT championship, even with that lunatic,
Jesus,
Dexter Lumis, trying to aid Velveteen Dream, attacking the Undisputed Era for no reason, by the way. They're minding their business on the outside, and he just has to come out and has to get involved. I don't understand what's going on, but Adam Cole overcame the odds, retained the title. And it looks like it's dream over. It's dream over for Velveteen because he's not getting another title shot anytime soon. So, solid match. Would have been nice with the crowd, but it is what it is. Any thoughts? Did you see that match at all, or?
I did see the match, I think you have a little bit of a jaded approach or view to how that match shaped out, but
Unbiased.
Velveteen clearly had the advantage. Velveteen clearly had the advantage before those hooligans known as the Undisputed Era. Only two of them came out, and then they were confronted by who is it under the ring?
Dexter Loomis.
By Dexter Loomis, and obviously the Undisputed Era isn't as strong as you make them out to be, because one man pops out from under the ring, and then your two guys are just scared. They backpedal, and then they decide to make an attack.
He's
but
a
whatever. They didn't. I don't think,
He's a
they distracted Velveteen. They distracted Velveteen. It was unacceptable, and I think if you would have known. Okay, so I do have one criticism about the match.
Okay.
So Velveteen goes for the pin. Usually he would. If the ref is down, you kind of do the count yourself to let the crowd. I mean, there was no crowd, but to let him know that you did have your point down for 3. Obviously, he did. I wasn't very fond of the way he looks for the ref after, when he's looking for the ref while he's trying to pin or he's covering Cole, because he looks this way and the ref is clearly like over here, and I was kind of like, Velveteen, what are you doing, dude? Like, the ref's right in front of you and he's looking behind him to, like, I don't know. It was very kind of confusing, so I was a little lost there. I know there's a lot going on at ringside when you have those hooligans down there, so I don't blame Velveteen completely for having to watch his own back in that situation. Again, you can't fault him for that, because when it comes to the Undisputed Era, you always have to watch your back, because if you talk about, as Finn Balor talked about, snakes being in the locker room,
Wow.
Can you name any bigger snakes than the Undisputed Era right now?
No.
See, I said it. I said it.
They were confronted by a serial killer. He has been putting people to sleep in the middle of the ring and then groping them right after, like caressing them. It's terrifying. It is terrifying.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I will talk about Velveteen Dream, though, again, real quick. I'm assuming these are live taped, at least. I mean, I don't know if they were taped. Huh?
They haven't addressed it, so, I mean, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to know when these were recorded. I mean, were they recorded the week, or they recorded before or after whatever happened with the was it Instagram, or I think it was Instagram situation? I think
last week.
It's been like 2 weeks.
No.
Oh, it was filmed after it came out, though?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I mean, they didn't do anything that really wrote Velveteen off of TV, so I'm not entirely sure what they're. I mean, if they're confident with what happened and what Velveteen said, then I'm all for it. If they have the proof, they have the evidence, and they're fine with it. But I mean, I think we might have seen it once or twice. I mean, if you look back at the Chris Benoit situation, as you assume and you believe, it's one thing, and then it only takes a couple hours to find out a whole different story. So
right.
Who knows what really happened, but I'll be curious to see what happens to Velveteen in his future going forward.
Yeah, only time will tell. We got a return this past Monday on Raw. There was a huge gauntlet match to find out the final competitor in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. The phenomenal one, AJ Styles, is back. He claimed that last spot after being buried alive. He had to dig his way out of the dirt, and his buddies, the OC, are gone. So
yeah,
I know he hasn't been too happy about that. I think he even made it clear.
What has he said or hinted at, or what?
I think he made it clear this past week in like one of his mixers that he does.
Oh, right.
He wasn't too happy about his return either. I think he wanted a bigger return, but
oh, really?
Back for Money in the Bank. So I don't know. I think he's definitely a contender to win this thing. We'll talk about it more in our predictions in a little bit, but this gauntlet match was pretty good. Humberto Carrillo, kind of, in a sense, the Iron Man in this match, overcame three. I believe it was like three competitors. It was Lashley who got himself disqualified, I believe, and then Angel Garza and Austin Theory. So well done for him. So we got time to talk about Dark Side of the Ring. I know we were cut off last week.
Yep.
But let's talk about this week. What was his name? Herb.
I'm trying to Herb.
Drawing blanks here. Drawing blanks.
Let me look it up because I know the quarantine's starting to get to us a little bit, but
Herb
Abrams was the name.
So it was
yeah. So this
the story of Herb Abrams, which is an interesting title because it was very much cowboy boots and cocaine. Yeah. So go ahead and give your I guess thoughts on this.
So it was the what is it, the UWF?
Yes, the Universal
USWF. Okay, so I thought this was kind of interesting. I may have slightly heard of the organization before, but never in this much detail. And I had never heard of Herb Abrams before.
Same.
So again, another guy who was trying to go head to head with Vince McMahon to some degree. It was interesting though because I thought this would have, and the way it was like kind of teased was like it was another territory. I thought it was another territory fighting. But this was, I guess, more or less, I guess Herb Abrams was a super fan. Went to this wrestling conference and was kind of announcing he was going to do his own wrestling promotion. And while at this conference, interacted with a lot of wrestlers who were just either on their way out or had some sort of history with the WWE, WWF at the time, and convinced them to join his organization, said he had a lot of money, and apparently he did, but then for the one bank account he did have with a lot of money, he had another bank account in which he owed a lot of money. So the Herb Abrams thing was just kind of interesting to hear. You know, he was his own worst enemy, but when he was on TV and did have the organizations up and running, he had a lot of names, big names. I mean, he had Brian Blair, who was one of the Killer Bees, probably not the biggest name, but a name. He also managed to get Andre the Giant in there for a show or two before Vince decided to say, no, we're not doing that. And he brought Andre back right away and put him on TV the next week. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who was the whole Dark Side of the Ring in its own right, was a part of this organization. So many different guys.
Foley.
The thing that stood out to me about it,
Mick Foley was in it.
Mick Foley was another big name, and to hear him on the documentary, I'm not entirely surprised he was on it. But yeah, like I was about to say, when looking back at guys like Mick Foley and others who spoke about Herb Abrams, despite his problems, despite the fact that they didn't get their money more often than not, if at all. They still loved the guy and what he was able to do because he was someone who believed in them and kind of provided a lot of those guys a second chance in a way. The thing that was unfortunate is Herb Abrams got his own way and kind of hit the party scene a little too hard. And there were several stories throughout the episode in which they talked quite a bit about the cocaine usage and how that was kind of the downfall of not only Herb Abrams, but of his federation at the time. And this was like all in 90s, 92, 93, and I had never heard about any of this.
Yeah, so pretty much the ongoing or the reoccurring theme was him in a hotel room with illegal drugs, obviously, and prostitutes. That was and I mean, even that was his demise. Well, the quote here from Brian Blair was, Herb Abrams died doing what he loved, and he said hookers and cocaine. So he died in 1996, I believe. There was even rumors saying that he faked his own death, but I doubt that's the thing. I know Mick Foley was like, if he were alive today, he would be in jail. That's how it ended.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the whole story was nuts.
it was very cartoonish. It felt like almost. It's very like uh, very cinematic movie kind of storytelling
Yeah.
in a sense, because it's like you only see this, you only hear about this in movies.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I mean, even when he's jumping out the window naked so he can run away from whoever was after him, and he's calling one of his wrestlers or his managers at the time on the phone to try and get, um, trying to get some help or something, and it was just crazy stuff you only would see in a movie, and it's hard to think that things like that actually do happen in real life. So it was pretty interesting to hear, especially for the first time. Really, just trying to hear that story, and it was one of those stories where there was still that WWE connection, and another guy who was trying to beat WWE, but it was more so focused on just Herb Abrams and that situation, which I thought was a bit of a change of pace from the past. But it would have been interesting if Herb did make it through all that situation and came out on the other side and was able to kind of tell his own story. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. It was crazy, and there was a lot of empty. We talk about empty arenas now. I mean, they were running. He was able to pull out Madison Square Garden and some other spots and try and do the pay-per-views, but the tickets just weren't selling. Yeah. I don't. Wasn't executed right, but it was kind of ECW-ish in a way, where he had his supporters and his supporters seemed to stick by him through thick and thin. But at the end of the day, it was just kind of too much for one man or for one wrestling company, especially with the big brother WWE looking overhead to try and have and overcome. So
I believe next week we have the Owen Hart one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I haven't. I know we're getting close. I've been waiting for this.
That's a big one right there. So get ready for more.
Yeah, I'm looking for.
So that's gonna happen.
What was that?
More criticism on Vince, because that's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
As if there hasn't already been enough.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna get this in an hour. I really don't. I don't know why this is not being. And it might be. I don't know how it's not 2 hours, but it needs to be. I would suggest people, if you're still looking for something to binge watch or to go ahead and to spend your free time on, go over to the Up Down Down YouTube channel, and Xavier Woods and a lot of the wrestlers who are on the roster. They do a lot of different stuff, a lot of cool different Twitch streams, or they even get together and they do some packaged production shows in a way. I've caught a few episodes. I watched the first season. I think they just kind of were promoting the third one, which is how it kind of caught my eye over the past week. They're doing this Dungeons and Dragon thing where wasn't very familiar with it, but they were doing the Dungeons and Dragon storyline. I think it's called Rollout. It was pretty neat, and I wasn't very familiar with it. With the game itself, I've heard so much about it, and it's been around forever. So it's kind of interesting just to watch a lot of those superstars, men and women, interact and outside of the ring. They would still use some lingo like gimmick and whatnot. But just to kind of see how the way they would kind of, they're just playing a board game, but even the production value is there. And I know it's kind of backed by WWE. I don't know if WWE is providing a whole crew for some of these shows, but it's very well done and very professional-like. So Xavier Woods and company, they do a great job. The first season had Ember Moon, Brandon Williams, who I believe is what was he going? He's the one that Brock Lesnar attacked. He was on the commentary booth. Dino Madden, I'm forgetting. And Taylor Breeze was on that first season. They were back for the second season, which is kind of where I'm at right now. And they had Alexa Bliss and Aiden English join in a few episodes into the second season. So a lot of good people there, a lot of humor. So go check that out. There's tons of stuff on there. There's some stuff with Cesaro and etc. So if you're looking for something to watch, there's a lot to watch over there.
All right. Thanks for bringing that up, because I've been watching some Up, Down, Down as well. Rob, we have to take a break. All right. So I'll mention what I've been watching when we return right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22West Radio. 22West Radio is 22westmedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. And we're back. Before the break, I know James was talking about his experience with Xavier Woods' YouTube channel, Up, Up, Down, Down. I, too, have been getting deep diving into some older stuff. The Battle of the Brands between him and Tyler Breeze. They started off playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and they're playing GM mode. So Xavier Woods is SmackDown,
yes.
And Tyler is Raw, and it's a great series. I'm currently at the Royal Rumble. So currently, I think they are in either there's. So when they said when they're done with 06, they go to 07 and then 08.
Okay.
I think they still might be in 07. So, but yeah, I'm catching up on that. It's really fun. See, they simulate all the matches, so they don't show any matches, but it's good. Because they're managing their money and they got to take away viewers and all that stuff. So it's really fun to check out. It's been killing a lot of time. Also, every Wednesday, Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze, Cesaro, and Adam Cole, the one and only, have been playing Uno for the last 6 weeks on Wednesdays. Usually about an hour long, and it's very entertaining. It's definitely fun. I've been getting into Uno because of it, so I've been playing. So check that out if you haven't. It's great. So entertaining just by watching them play games.
That sounds interesting. I'd be kind of down to do that as well, to play Uno. Maybe one day we can kind of sit around and do some Uno and
I got the time.
Talk about wrestling and other stuff. I'd be down to do that. I'm sure you do.
That's it. I'm done. I'm going to graduate this weekend. Excited.
Finals week?
Don't start talking until you turn your stuff in. You never know what could happen. Your stuff gets turned in before you start.
I was working on my final assignment before this. I'm going to continue it after the show. But Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Our predictions here before we wrap up the show. Opening contest, or first match we'll discuss for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley defends against Tamina. Rob, who do you have here?
Tamina. It's her time.
Is it? Do you think? I don't know. James, who you got?
They've been kind of building Tamina up a little bit. I'm not gonna knock Rob for picking Tamina in this one, but I think at the end of the day, it does have to go to the title, because you still have to see whatever the feud is supposed to be with Sasha. I feel like that feud has kind of ran its course, but some of you guys are saying that they really haven't interacted that much as opponents on the main roster. So I still think whatever about it, but I think it's bound to happen. You're going to get Sasha, you're going to get Bayley at some point for the title future, probably at SummerSlam. So in order for that to happen, you have to have Bayley win the title or retain the title here.
And I too have Bayley. I think she's the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion, and I think that reign's going to continue until SummerSlam. Speaking of SummerSlam, I gotta derail a bit, but SummerSlam may not be held in Boston because apparently the mayor of Boston says they're not going to have any events or crowds. So that we may see another Performance Center event, possibly with a crowd though. We may be getting some type of crowd.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It's just kind of right now early on in the process still. So I do expect a crowd at some point this summer. So we'll see what happens. I guess WWE Championship match, Seth Rollins, the challenger, taking on the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. Rob, who do you have here?
Drew still keeps it.
They've been doing a really good job building this the last couple of weeks, especially with the contract signing and all. So, James, who do you have here?
I think that it stays with Drew. It's too early for him to kind of drop the title to anybody.
Yeah.
I think he stays with Drew.
I'd go with Drew as well. he's clearly been one of the highlights in this empty arena, empty building shows, and he's been doing a really good job as a dominant competitor. So I think it'll be a really solid match, but he's gonna retain the title. For the Universal,
Hold on a second, Ethan. I've heard there have been. I can't even talk right now. I heard there was some like talk or some speculation at the possibility of maybe having Drew McIntyre lose the title at this next pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, with the intentions of him maybe by the time they do get a crowd for SummerSlam, having him then go back and chase the title and win the title at SummerSlam so he can have that moment he didn't have at WrestleMania. I don't think that's a great idea. I think that's what they did with Lesnar and Rollins, though, if I'm not mistaken. Then Rollins beat Roman.
Matches.
Huh?
I think it was Roman.
It might have been Roman and Brock. It was like last year where they kind of did the same thing. So I don't think they go there again.
That's one of the matches, though.
Yeah, I forgot what it was. They had some. It was mentioned where that they had kind of already done the storyline. I just bringing it up, but I don't think it could happen again. I don't think they're gonna, because you're kind of cutting what you already started with Drew just to try and build him back up. Just build him. Just keep going. Having him beat someone like Seth would do great for whatever they want to do with him going forward. So.
Yeah, and Seth continues to be a guiding light in my life, as many lives. A true spiritual being, a hero, and Rob, you gotta really get rid of that background. It's nonsense. But anyways, for the radio listeners, he has a 3MB background. Jinder Mahal did return. It was last week, I think. So
yes,
he did return, but he's not in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So, Universal Championship match. Bray Wyatt taking on the champion Braun Strowman. Rob, who do you have here?
Retain.
Retains? Okay, James?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. I mean,
this is an iffy one.
Especially if it would be a lot different of a situation if Cena beat Wyatt, because then it would be like, well, what the heck are they doing with Wyatt now? But Wyatt did get the win over Cena, which did kind of end some of the losing momentum he seemed to have had. I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna end. I think a lot, what you get from SmackDown might tell you something as the go home show, but I guess Bray. I mean, if you're gonna put it, no, not Bray, Braun. If they put it on, and maybe they're supposed to be doing something with them. I know it was just a matter of getting the title off of Goldberg, but you got it on Braun. Don't just make him a transitional champion and make it any worse than he already has been buried when it comes to title matches in the past. So I don't know. It's gonna go either way.
I've got a no contest here. So
Okay.
Braun will retain. But it's not going to be a pinfall or submission victory. It'll end in some type of either disqualification or whatever. The match will be stopped or something. But I don't see a clear winner here. Money in the Bank, the most unique Money in the Bank matches in history. The men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches will be held simultaneously in the WWE headquarters. They will start on the ground floor, and they will have to go up 10 stories, climb a ladder, and grab the briefcase from on top of the roof where the briefcase is suspended in the air. As I mentioned, it was made clear last week that both matches will happen at the same time. So it should be a madhouse match, but start with the women's first. The competitors are Nia Jax, Lacey Evans, Carmella, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, and Dana Brooke. Yeah, Dana Brooke. So those are 6 competitors.
How
Rob,
many heel do you have in that match?
Shayna.
Can you repeat it?
I said, how many heels do they have in that match? Sounds like quite
So
a lot of heels when you think about it.
it's three faces and 3 heels, I think, isn't it? Yeah, 3 faces and 3 heels.
Who are the heels?
The heels are Asuka, Shayna, and Nia.
And then, Lacey Evans is a baby face. Tamina?
It's Carmella, Dana, and
Carmella. That's right. And Carmella. Yeah.
Rob, do you have a prediction here?
Shayna.
Shayna's a favorite, definitely. This is personally, I think this is like a 3-way favorite here. But go ahead, James.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, like you said, I think it can kind of go either way. I think a lot of these belts a lot of the briefcase holders do well when they're heels. I don't think Shayna needs it. I think she'll be in contention, make it close. She'll come down to one of the last ones trying to get it there. But please don't put it on Carmella. I'd be curious to see if Dana Brooke ended up with it. I think they put it on Nia Jax just because. Why not? She's got nuclear heat right now with the WWE universe, as they all claim she's this dangerous wrestler, and she's living her best life and just taking it all in stride. So I think the WWE will continue the universe, and they'll give Nia Jax the briefcase just because.
I think this person has been the highlight of the empty arena building shows. I'm going for Asuka here. Got Asuka here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that one either.
So, all right. I think this is like the first time we've ever all gotten different competitors in like a 3-way or something. So, there we go. For the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, again, will happen simultaneously with the women's matches, and we'll start on the ground floor. We've got the newly entered phenomenal AJ Styles. We've got Aleister Black, the legendary Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan, King Corbin, and Otis. That's right. Otis qualified last week, defeating Dolph Ziggler. What do you got here, Rob?
Corbin.
Please, no. Please. No, I really don't want that to happen.
I can already see Otis getting the briefcase, winning it, and saying, "Oh yeah."
I don't know.
I would love to see. I would love to see how Otis would do in this environment, this situation. I just think he's almost like too nice of a dude to really like do anything crazy. But I think it would be a good match. I think it would be interesting to watch him throughout the night. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Corbin wins it either. He's won every other gimmick match there is to win. He's won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, King of the Ring, and everything else. So don't be surprised if Corbin does win it again or win another sort of gimmick match and item thingy. I think a lot of people are going for Aleister, would like to see Aleister win it. I don't know if he gets it done, though, because I think he's a guy who can, if he has a bit of some momentum on his side, winning some matches. I don't think he needs the briefcase. Let him earn it through winning and make him a legitimate contender instead of just raising his stock up so high with the briefcase. I think having someone like AJ Styles would be interesting. He'd be on his own without his buddies, but giving him the briefcase does give him something to do, keeps him in the mix right away, and he's coming off a match with The Undertaker, which is as big of a rub coming out of WrestleMania as well as you can get. So I think I'll go with AJ in this one, just because.
Yeah. Speaking of Aleister Black, he and Zelina Vega have a YouTube channel as well.
Okay, yeah.
Recently, I saw a couple of their Q&A videos. Entertaining stuff, because I know they're collectors as well, as James and I have become a bit
Yeah.
But I know they're into comic books and all that, so I think it's their YouTube is A to Z. So
and they were on I think they did an interview, or no, Alistair did with Backstage or whatever the bump, I think. And it was kind of interesting. He put over Vega. Obviously, that's his his partner. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because a lot of people kind of see Alistair as this next Undertaker-like character and whatnot. But to see him kind of just kind of talking is it's kind of interesting. A little bit of a change of pace, and again, it kind of breaks from the storyline because there's been in recent shows where they've been on opposing sides of things. But interesting that, especially now that you mention it, yeah, that they do have the YouTube channel. Nice name too, by the way.
All right. So my prediction, I would go for Alistair if it weren't for AJ Styles. Now that AJ's in the match, I got to go with him. And we're out of time. So thanks everyone for listening, watching us on YouTube. Until next time, this episode has been Too Sweet.
Too Sweet.
Yeah.